This also you can share it to all the groups which I mentioned.
A warm good morning. Paradigm is the part of conditioning of the mind, our conditioning thought patterns. We, Sakthi Institute of Information and Management Studies, is welcoming you all to such conditioning of mind through today's FDP session on the new paradigm in managing businesses after lockdown as a part of 7-day international FDP on post-COVID-19 challenges and opportunities, a global perspective. This COVID-19 outbreak has made drastic changes around us like no other. Companies are getting ready for slow business and are looking at slashing marketing budgets, recruitment, and new investments. The lockdown may be lifted to a varied extent, but the companies now have to battle with the survival and customer retention. Factors like stress, job insecurity, retrenchment, downsizing, emotional and psychological trauma are taking center stage. It is increasingly clear that recovery and turnarounds too will have to be accelerated at once. It is very apparent that the right time to prepare for recovery is now. To talk on this, we have an excellent speaker and management consultant, Mr. Ramji Raghavan. Now, I request Dr. R. Anandi, Assistant Professor SIIMS, to introduce the resource person of the day.
This is our for the second day of 7-day international FDP on post-COVID-19 challenges and opportunities in global perspective. I take this great opportunity to thank our beloved President, Dr. respected Secretary, Mr. M. Subramaniam, respected Director, Dr. P. Subramaniam, and Professor Dr. R. Yavu, State Academics and Program Coordinator, for their constant support and guidance that make our event a huge success. The country is bracing itself for a period of extended lockdown in the light of the COVID-19 pandemic spread. There is no denying this. We have now entered an uncharted new paradigm where surviving against odds becomes a new norm. It becomes imperative for business leaders to cope up with this freshly worrying realization. To speak on the topic, the new paradigm in managing businesses after lockdown, a management perspective, today we have Mr. Ramji Raghavan, a leading management consultant for investment etc. He is also the chief consultant for the Power Performance Regulatory Committee. In a career spanning of 20 years in this field, he has conducted many train-the-trainer programs, moderated and coached thousands of young executives, managers, and senior managers on various contemporary topics. Some of the prominent organizations where Mr. Ramji has trained are ICICI Prudential, HDFC, Tata AIA, Birla Sun Life, Reliance, SBI, LIC, DBS Bank, etc. He is a postgraduate in psychology and has a fellowship from the American College USA. He holds an advanced diploma in financial planning from the same institution. On behalf of SIIMS, I extend a hearty welcome to the resource person, Mr. Ramji Raghavan, for having consented to share his expertise knowledge. I also take this great opportunity to welcome all the principals, deans, directors, faculty members of various colleges, professionals, and industry people who are attending this FDP. Thank you. Now I kindly request Mr. Ramji Raghavan to take over the session.
Thank you, Anandi. Thank you, Dr. Kuntavai, for that wonderful introduction. I'm really delighted to be here. I would like to thank the management of SIIMS, the director, Dr. Subramaniam, the chief of faculty, Mr. Tyagu, and all the staff members for having me here. Dr. Subramaniam is a man with a lot of patience, and he never gives up. He literally chased me down to pin me down to this event. And not only that, he also made me to get one more resource person for him. I love that attention and I love that liberty they are taking. They consider me as part of the family. Thank you so much for that. I thank the management and the president for having the trust and faith. And to talk about the president, he never misses an opportunity to inspire people and encourage people to come out with their inherent talents. So thank you so much. It's a wonderful occasion to be with you all. And what I've done today is that I've created a structured presentation so that we all can be aligned to the thought process. So I would like to go ahead and present that one and post that in case if you have got any questions, you can ask them through the moderator and we'll take them one by one. Would that be okay? With the permission of the moderator, can I start sharing the presentation? Which one I push?
Go ahead, sir.
All right. Now, SIIMS has put together a wonderful one-week-long program, and I have gone through the list of presentations. It is comprehensive and touches upon the different aspects of the economy, be it agriculture or manufacturing or services. It touches upon various aspects and also connects it to what is going to happen post the lockdown. Now, my presentation comes with the management perspective. It is not restricted to one particular industry or a sector, but I am taking a management perspective as to what's going to be played out when we unlock. So that's going to be the perspective in which I have constructed my presentation. In fact, I don't make general presentations, but to the point, whatever has been the problem question, to that I go into research and understand. So pretty much of what you will see here is a collection of my experience in talking to various stakeholders in the industry, various industries, professionals working in different corporate organizations, and understanding what the ground reality is. So it's a collection of that, and that I've made up with the paradigm which we are going to look at today. So I would want all those people who are watching this, the faculty members, students, and whoever is watching this across the country, and I'm told that there are people watching from different locations of the world. So I wanted to look at it from a general management perspective, and I'm sure that you will get many insights into this. Whenever the world has witnessed major systemic events like the one we are witnessing right now, it has always left the world with a new standard or a new order. That has been the history. We have seen it so much in the history that whenever such events occur, you can take history and look at it and go long back, whether it is the comet coming and destroying all the life in the world, including the dinosaurs. We know the world has changed once for all. We have seen the health emergencies, the Spanish flu. We have seen the natural calamities and catastrophic events like the volcanoes, earthquakes, and the polio virus, which killed many people on a daily basis. The HIV virus from the 1980s has changed the world, and the tsunamis have made the world a different place. Now, these challenges keep happening. The scale and size are different, but these things are going to happen. But every challenge humanity has faced has resulted in new beginnings. I want to put this in context for everybody so that we start it off on a positive note, that it is not a doomsday and it is not going to end. It's only going to begin, but in a different way. Like we take care of our home and we refurbish things, and then we spruce up things. We get rid of all the old things and then make our house new, our car new. The world has got its own, the nature has got its own laws by which it does that. So we are looking at a new beginning. The world as we know today has crossed many battles and it is still strong. So let us not be worried that everything is going to end. It has seen, if you look at the scheme of things in the scale of time, that this is nothing, absolutely nothing. The world has seen worst, and what we are witnessing is a momentary pause. And I am sure that it will be strong in the future too, as it has always been. So absolutely no worries. These things are challenges which we will cross, and together we will emerge much stronger than before. I want to leave you with that note as far as this pandemic is concerned. I don't want to go into details of that because I'm sure that you have been hearing this for a long, long time, and you know everything in terms of what this virus is all about and what you need to do. Now let's look at this. There is an urgency for the pre-COVID times to return. Everybody wants to go back to the pre-COVID times, the normal way of lives and how we have been. Everybody is itching to go. Now let me caution to everyone is that the lockdown or unlock or administrative measures taken by the governments based on statistical models, it is not a call taken by the corona COVID-19 virus. So I want you to not let your guard and make sure that you remain safe and practice all those things which have been prescribed, whether it is wearing a mask when you go out and meet people, your hand sanitizers and washing your hands every time you go out and touch things. So these are things, simple things which you have to adhere to for some time. So let us not let the guard and everybody be safe. Now, is it going to change, or there are going to be changes which are going to be there? Now, first let's look at what has changed because of this pandemic. I would say that pretty much a lot of things have changed. As you can see, the laws have changed, the institutional frameworks have changed, the practices have changed, the routines, methods, and modes. Every country has rewritten most of its laws, be it the labor law or the economic laws, the income tax rules, and every single aspect of what governs our lives through constitutional and executive laws have been amended, changed, and some of them will probably not be there anymore. So the laws have changed. The institutional frameworks, how the institution functions, interact, communicate with the public has changed. The practices have changed. The way we used to do things are no more and no longer there. The routines have changed for many people. Many people now get up only at 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, some of them get up early in the morning. The routines have changed pretty much. And the methods have changed, the way in which we do our commerce, which we do our teaching. A lot of things have changed. The modes have changed, the way in which we interact, transact, economy, communication, all those modes have changed. So pretty much if you see that your life, which is associated with all of these things which you see on the screen, has undergone tremendous changes. Now, these things are not going to go back to pre-corona COVID times. So let's be very clear about it. So we need to embrace those changes which has happened across this spectrum. Now the topic is about the new paradigm. So let us get an understanding as to what we mean by the paradigm, the word itself, to get clarity on that. A paradigm is basically a standard or a perspective or a set of ideas about a particular thing. So which means that if a particular function is happening, then it has to happen according to certain rules, certain standards, certain conditions, the boundary conditions. That's what we call it as the paradigm. Now it is also about the way we look at something, our viewpoint. That is also a paradigm. The word paradigm is used a lot in academic and scientific and business worlds. No scientific or academic or business functions happen without having the paradigm boundary conditions. And that's the reason why we need to currently look at what the paradigm is going to be. Now look at this one, it's very important, and I put it as a context slide for all of you to get the perspective right. Now, when you change the paradigms, you're changing how you think about something, which means if you don't change the paradigm, you look at changes as problems. If you live in pre-COVID time paradigms and start looking at how things are being played out today, you will find everything as a problem. But if you change the paradigm, your change also happens the way in which you think and adapt yourself to the new paradigm. So we have to embrace and understand what the new paradigm is all going to be. Now, first let's look at the old one, the universal general business paradigm. What has been so far the norm as far as the businesses are concerned? You go to any business, any corporate, you look at any business models, you will find these 6 things: profits, scale, goals, benchmarks, targets, competition. Profits is the motive. Scaling up is the ambition. Goals are sacrosanct and people live by achieving goals. Benchmarks are to be beaten. Targets have to be achieved and competition has to be killed. Now, this is the universal general business paradigm which has been so far in vogue. Is it going to change? I've thought through a lot. I looked at different businesses which have struggled a lot during this pandemic within our country and across the world. The different businesses, small and big. And what occurred to me is that these things which are inherent to any business model is going to undergo severe change. So let's look at what's the new paradigm which is different from what we have seen. Ladies and gentlemen, faculty members, and all the students and whoever is watching this, this is the first time for any audience this researched management principles and management dimensions are being presented. So that way you're the first audience to listen to this, and you will find these things will get repeated. You wouldn't see this anywhere else. Let me assure you that you wouldn't see this anywhere else, and you will find this being repeated elsewhere once we have done this presentation. So you are the lucky ones who are going to look at and witness the new paradigm when it comes to management and managing businesses are being presented to you. Now, the first element of the new paradigm is the human capital. We will talk about each of this topic after this. The second one, which are the goals which were earlier there in the universal general paradigm, which is again available here, but the perspective changes. I will come to that. Values, efficiency, adaptability, profitability. Profit you saw there in the earlier slide. Profitability is here, but again with a different perspective. Sustainability, and finally the continuity. If you look at this pie chart, you will find that point number 2 and point number 6, goals and profitability, were there earlier. If you take out profitability and goals, then it doesn't become a commercial enterprise. So those things are going to remain there, but the perspective is certainly going to change. Along with that, you've got 6 more new paradigms which are going to be there in the way in which we manage our businesses. Let me go one by one of these 8 slices. Now this I call it as the components of management. Pretty much you will find that businesses will take up this, and then this is how they will function. I would recommend businesses to adapt to this way of functioning in order to make sure that they are ready for this challenge and for any challenge that will come in their way in the future too. So I call this as the components of managing your business. Now let's look at the slice number 1, which is the human capital. The word itself is very important. Now, human, they call the resources. Humans are not resources to be used, misused, abused, and discarded. That's the wrong way of calling it. Today, we are talking about the value of human lives and its importance. So, human are not going to be resources, but considered as the capital for any business. It is a capital which you need to preserve. It is a capital which you need to grow, and it is a capital which you need to ensure is used the way it has to be used. So the first change which is going to happen is that the human is going to be looked at as a capital and not as a resource. Person and performance. Performance is very important, but not at the cost of a person. A person in an organization should be looked for who he or she is, what their values are, what their talents are, what their emotions are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and groomed, and not just look at numbers and performance to measure a person's ability or otherwise. That's going to be the major change you will witness in this new paradigm. Longevity versus momentary bursts. Companies and businesses will look at the longevity of a person, a resource working in that organization compared to that of momentary talents and one-day heroes, etc. Which means that the substance is more important than style. So organizations will look at how long this person will keep adding value to my organization than looking at momentary successes, which are anyways comes and goes. Training is not an expense, but an investment. For the last 20 years, I've been associated with various companies involved in providing a variety of training sessions to organizations. I know that training is the first thing which they give a miss. If possible, they wouldn't want to spend money on training because it is considered as an expense. But now the training and grooming of people will become an investment and not an expense. Coaching and mentoring are very good words to say, talk about, but never practiced. Now that's going to take the center stage and it is going to be the mainstays. So if you look at the human capital, you find these elements which are going to be the new paradigm for any business, big or small. The second slice are the goals. Now the goals gets redefined to include not just the targets, numbers, and timelines and so on, but goals is not about just to bring me more sales, bring me more revenue. That's not going to be the same case, but retaining your existing clients and retaining the loyalty is going to be the new goal which will get included in the new paradigm. And TCF, I'll talk about TCF in the next slide. And corporate social responsibility is going to be one of the major goals. We have seen during this pandemic how the corporates, businesses have come generously forward in contributing to alleviate the sufferings of millions of people. Let me share you that being a Rotarian myself, Rotary India, through all the Rotary members, we have contributed 136 crores in money and materials towards this pandemic. We've all seen that how the Tata Group came out and gave 1,500 crores. And there are many big corporates who have generously participated in offering their money and material. Thousands and lakhs of small businesses, MSME sector, every single person who has been doing any business have always come forward and given their share. One Am I audible?
So it's clear now, so please go ahead, sir.
All right, thank you. I was on the goal slide. So the corporate social responsibility is going to be the prominent one. I don't have to quote you many examples. The institution through which this presentation is being made itself is an example. SIIMS and its parent organization, parent institutions, and all the institutions for the last 50, 60 years, they're functioning only on one mode, which is their social responsibility. There are social institutions. You wouldn't find any one single institution which works for profits alone. That's a fantastic way of running your business. 100% into social responsibility of educating young people. I'm an example. You won't believe that I did my 5 years of schooling, my primary schooling in one of the institutions run by this group. So right from the founder, Dr. N. Mahalingam, Aruchilvar, as we respectfully call him, the corporate social responsibility and social mind-bend has been the backbone of all these institutions. Even in the third generation, we see that the same values are in place and it continues. So when it comes to goals, the corporate social responsibility is going to be included as one of the goals. Now let's look at TCF. What is this TCF is all about? Can you help me to move the slide? It's not moving. Now TCF originally, TCF is treat your customers fairly is a concept. It's again a paradigm, which was originally done for as an audit process for the financial services. Screen sharing. Okay. Ramakrishnan, you'll have to come in to let me know if everything is going all right.
Yes, sir. Everything is all right, sir.
Is my slides available?
Yes, sir. I just.
Which is the slide number you would like to have it, sir, on the screen?
Sir, now you can control my screen, sir.
Yes. I want to go to the TCF. Just go up, go up, go up, go up. Go to TCF concepts. Yes, 26.
Sir, you can control my screen, sir.
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it this way, Ramakrishnan. You do it, the screen part of it, that will be fine.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Just put it in the presentation mode.
Yeah.
Great. We were talking about the treat customers fairly as a paradigm, which was originally came out as an audit process for the financial services in US. But looking at the paradigm of treat your customers fairly, it is applicable to any industry. Now, if any organization practices that concept of TCF, then these are the outcomes. The customers must feel confident that they are dealing with a company which has got treating customers fairly as their core value. And the products and services they bring out are according to the needs of the customers. And the clients are provided with clear information kept appropriately before, during, and after the sales process is over. These are the three primary outcomes which will be there if organization practices the TCF. You can go to the next slide. The 4, 5, and 6 of this paradigm is that the advice is suitable according to the needs and circumstances of the client, and the service is of an acceptable standard as to how the customers have been led to believe that how the services are going to be. And finally, the customers do not feel unreasonable post-sale barriers when they want to make a change in the product or switch to providers, submit a claim, or make a complaint. Now, this concept of TCF is going to be included as a goal for any businesses. So this paradigm is going to be there. Next. Ramakrishnan, you can change. Let's look at the next slice in that paradigm. Go ahead and click it, sir. Values, values, and values. This is the most important aspect of it. Keep the slide on the values, please. Okay, great. Thank you. Now, you will find this aspect is going to be the key in the coming days. Values are going to be at the center stage and guiding businesses. Normally, we will see the values when organizations do their vision and values exercise, and it will be there, it will be printed, posted, it will be available in the diaries, it will be available below the logos in the websites and stuff on. But it's quickly forgotten. That's the practical aspect of it. Values are given a go by, but not anymore. Values are going to be at the center and guide the businesses. Now, the new metrics which are going to be in place to measure the value transfer to clients by businesses. In corporate world, the normal way of looking at things is that, how much of wallet share can you take from the client? If the client has got 100 rupees disposable money, then the strategies which will be discussed in the boardrooms and the strategies which will be discussed in any strategy meetings are that how much of that 100 rupees our company is going to take, what's the wallet share which you are getting. Now that's going to take major change. It's not about how much you take from the client, but it is how much value as a business, as a company, you have transferred to the client. That's a major change. So you will find the targets and goals and measurements for the metrics will be given as to how much value transfer has been done to the client. Value as an invisible brand image for the business is going to be the new norm. And like we do the ISO certifications and quality certifications and the 5S certifications, there are going to be audits and certifications for the value, which means that whether organizations adhere to the values on which it has been built and for the values for which it exists, these audits and certifications are going to be there. You will see in the future that like ISO audits and certifications are given, you will find the value audit will be done for organizations, and that certification is going to be the norm. So you take a picture, a shot of the screen, or you want to make a note of it, please make a note of it. You will find that these things associated with values are going to be part of the new paradigm which we are going to look at. Point number 4, please. One more. Efficiency. Now, a key parameter in the new paradigm. Now, efficiency, we all know that it always existed, but the quantification metrics is going to get redefined. I don't know how many of you are aware of something called a balanced scorecard system. It's a good time to talk about it. In organizations, the people are measured by way of how much they produce, their productivity. But that's not the way to look at people and your human capital. So a balanced scorecard system was introduced where it looks at a person in 360 degrees. It looks at not just the targets versus achievement, but it also looks at the values they bring in to the organization and their relationship with others and how overall they are beneficial to the organization. So that balanced scorecard system, which represents every aspect of a human capital, is going to be thoroughly and more vigorously practiced in organizations. Activity discipline. Now, results are important, no doubt about it. We need results and we need minimum acceptable results to be produced by every human capital. But at the same time, the activity discipline will have to be given the weightage. If somebody is adhering to the discipline of activity, because those are input activities, they are long term, they are not probably going to give you immediate results. But if the activity discipline is adhered to, that gets a weightage. Now that's going to be built in into the efficiency metrics. Now, if somebody is less deficient, and that triggers only more training and not firing. Usually, if you look at the human as resources, then efficiency drops and then you look at an opportunity to fire the person. But now, if the deficiency is there in their efficiency, then it requires more training and more grooming and more support to that human capital and certainly not firing. So that system of efficiency is going to be in the new paradigm. Point number 5, please. Adaptability. Isn't it the most important aspect for today's times, which is the adaptability? Competition is not a challenge, but an opportunity to find the edge. Usually businesses worry a lot about competition and they look at ways and means by which they can make their product win over the competition. However, in today's circumstances, under the new paradigm, competition has to be looked at as a new challenge, but certainly not something which you need to worry about, but it is to find what your edge is going to be. Changes brings only the thrill of being born new. Changes does not mean that you are in an uncomfortable zone, but it gives you a thrill to be born again and then take on the challenges. The forecasting models are going to be there for predictions. Forecasting models, in fact, the many organizations where I consult, I've asked them to prepare a plan B and a plan C, where they will put together the profit and loss account and balance sheet based on certain models, and another one worst case scenario models. So these are going to be the new norms. The scrambling of standard operating procedures for emergencies and uncertainty is going to be included when it comes to adaptability. SOP, as we call it, a very quick scrambling of SOP models will be made and kept ready, just like you have a fire extinguisher kept in all the offices and buildings, where in case of a fire emergency, you take out that and then you do it. So you keep the fire emergency ready beforehand. You don't run for fire extinguishers when the fire is on. So much the same way from the management point of view, that you've got an SOP ready to take care of emergencies and uncertainties, and what goes into that scrambling of that SOP, all the points will be there. The emergencies will have to be taken care in that way. So that's going to be the major change in this point number 5, adaptability. Next point, please. Profitability. It was there in the universal general paradigm. It is here as well. But the profitability takes a honorable place and not the first place. Profits are required for any business establishment. Without profit, there is no business. And the very purpose and reason why a business comes into being is for profit. So absolutely no compromise on that. But nevertheless, it takes the most honorable seat, and it is not the only reason why a business exists, as we have seen from the CSR example. Profitability along with that, the operability is going to be the new benchmark. As long as I can operate without a loss, and if it benefits people, then I have a reason to be in the business. I can make profits, certainly yes, but operability is going to be the most important keyword. So people and businesses are going to look at their economics and their balance sheets and look at that. How am I going to operate in the next 5 years, next 3 years? Where am I going to be if the cases are going to be, the situation is going to be this or that? Mutual benefit sharing becomes a reality. Sadly, this was not the case. The mutual benefit sharing has never occurred in the corporate presentations. It is about my benefit. It is about maximizing the returns. It is about maximizing the return on investment. But mutual sharing, that is how much the clients and how much the public in general are going to share of my economic and my business activity. That's going to be the reality. 7. Sustainability. Now, this is the key. Every business model, every businesses, MSME and big corporates, what are they talking about? They are talking about how am I going to sustain my business? How am I going to get more capital? What's going to happen to my short-term net working capitals? Whether I'm going to be able to pay my creditors, whether I'm going to keep my employees. So sustainability as a paradigm is going to feature prominently for any business. Now, sustainability is also linked with responsibility. So people value more those businesses which are environment friendly, whether it is environmentally sustainable to have your business. If your business is going to spoil the mother nature, then that business need not be there. So those responsibilities are going to be built into sustainability model. And it also has to model the catastrophic situations. Whether my business is sustainable if there is going to be such a catastrophe in the future. What are all the catastrophics which are going to affect my business? Now, let me give you a very interesting perspective. Who does these exercises more seriously? Always is an insurance company. An insurance company does lots and lots of this research, and they have piles of data as to what can happen in case of a worst case scenario. Now they make those data to work to get the correct amount of premium before insuring a particular risk. So businesses have to probably look at the way the insurance companies model their sustainability and looking at the risk to see that how they can have a built-in catastrophic sustainability model built into it. All weather models for businesses and industry will usher in. So you will find consultants and you will find experts on the field will come out and give you customized all weather models for your particular business. For example, you are running a spinning mill, or you're running a hotel, or you're running a small scale industry manufacturing cotton products, or you're manufacturing a component, automobile component, or whatever be the case. People are going to come and tell you that you can build an all-weather model, you can have a sustainable model to take care of all the emergencies in the future. So point number 7, sustainability is going to be there as a new paradigm which you will witness. Next point. And finally, continuity of the business, which probably in my experience, even the most successful business owner doesn't give much thought about it, because in the thick of action in which they operate, they have little time to think about continuity of the business. Even if they have thought about it, they have not done anything about it. Even if they have done something about it, that's not enough. So continuity of the business is going to take a very important place in the new paradigm. You will find that key person indemnity insurance for business owners are going to be up in demand. I have witnessed, because I consult to a lot of business owners, one of the things which they want to do is that, they want to make sure that they have enough insurance to take care of any catastrophe in case of death, disability, how my business is going to continue. So those aspects are going to get more prominence. The next generation grooming will become professional. Now, the next generation taking over and running the business have been normal in our previous generation, but not anymore, because the next generation has got many options, and simply probably they are not interested. They are interested in something else because the options are many. So the grooming of the next generation into the business is going to be done professionally. You've got courses for that. You've got specialized education for that. People are going to look at that to make sure that the next generation is ready when the time comes to successfully run the business. Will and estate planning services going to be more sought after. There is a statistic which says that 97% of people who die, they don't leave a will, which means that there's a lot of problem if somebody dies without a will. So these services and planning for your estate and making proper arrangements of how the wealth is going to be shared after your lifetime, these are things which are going to be factored in the new paradigm. So point number 1 to 8, you find this new paradigm is going to be there, and it is going to be a reality. Already I am seeing this because I'm pretty much into the business world. I see this, many of things which are already happening. You will see that these things will get formalized in the coming future. Next slide, please. Now, so far what we have seen is for formal structured organizations. I also would like to give you a list of things which individual and partnership forms of businesses will do and will have to do if they have to be ready to adapt to the changes. So I'm going to give you the boxes of things which about 10 points which the individual and partnership forms of businesses, you can use it and you can educate your clients, and you can also talk about this in your classes, and you will find that these things are going to get more prominence in the coming days. Next slide, please. Now, individual business and partnership form of business will be looking to incorporate into a formal entity, which is a private limited company or a LLP, like that, because there is a lot of safeguards available for being a formal entity, and also get registered if they are not registered, so that they come into the MSME category and then avail all the benefits. So that is going to be the biggest change which is going to happen. You will find more and more businesses which are otherwise or as partnership and proprietorship, and they are not registered under GST, they are not registered under MSC. They are going to be formally incorporated and coming into some kind of formal economy. That's going to be the major change. Employee retention and gratuity schemes, which are mandatory for bigger organizations. These are things which you need to look at. Even if you're a partnership, if you're a proprietorship having only about 20, 30 people, you can look at schemes where you can retain people and you can build in that loyalty. And along with that, the employee welfare measures will also take a prominent seat. Personal financial planning for the business owners are going to be given more importance. Calculated retirement income plans and funding for the business owners are going to be looked at more seriously. These two things are the two eyes for any business owner. As I say, that point number 4 and point number 5, you need to do your personal financial planning, because if you're a sole proprietor and partnership, your liability is unlimited. You can't have an unlimited liability and put everything at stake, your family and your wealth and everything you've got, assets. So you need to make sure that you do a proper financial planning and separate your business finances from that of your personal finances and manage that, and also have an exit plan, which is very important. Like we talk about the exit strategy right now out of the lockdown, every business owner must have their exit strategy, which is the retirement. They have to have a honorable, decent retirement income coming their way, so that without any problem, they can pass on the business to the next generation. Treasury management is not just restricted to top corporates and bigger organizations. It can be done even for a sole proprietor organization. That is how you manage your surplus and how you can prudently invest that surplus to ensure that it is available to you when things are not going good. That goes to that all-weather model which I talked about earlier. It is good to have an advisory board. Every single business organization, be it small or big or medium scale, it's good to constitute an advisory board of your well-wishers and experts around you to advise you from time to time. Call for the advisory board meeting whenever it is required, take suggestions, and that's the way to go forward. Individually, you have a talent, and that's why you are in business. Collectively, few people come together and they have a partnership. It is good to have, but you need an advisory board if you need to be a sustainable business. And the point number 8, the ownership and management has to be segregated. Not every second generation will be capable of doing what you are doing, and you should be aware of that, and that has to be taken logically and not emotionally. So you need to ensure that you separate the management and leave it to the experts and professionals to deal, and then have your children or dependent people to enjoy the benefit. That's okay. But if you let people who are not expert, people who are not inclined to be in that business to run the business, then you will find that it will wind up very quickly than you thought. I have a couple of more points, point number 9 and 10, I guess. Ramakrishnan, yes. Point number 9 is very important. I have seen a lot of people, business owners, come and talk to me about is there any diversification opportunities available, especially in the agri field, because they have seen that when everything shuts down, the only thing which operates is agriculture. So the value of agriculture has been pretty much felt, and so for some people, it's just not an option to get in. But for people like me who live amidst an agricultural fields, it's a wonderful thing to do. You can do your agriculture, and I would advise businesses to have agri or value-added agri business as their diversification. If you're directly involved in agriculture, so good. You just produce something and contribute it. Okay, it will have a limited margin, limited profit. You can't expect huge profits when you do agriculture, but it will certainly cover the expenses and leave you with a little money. You can also involve in agriculture value-added businesses of making the agriculture produce into something else. So this is a diversification I would recommend for businesses. And finally, embrace the technology. There is no other option. If you're a small business, if you have been traditionally operating in one way and you have not embraced the technology, then you're going to get left behind. You don't have to be an expert to be embracing the technology. You've got people to help you. So invest some amount of money towards technology and make sure that your business is technology ready. You have to be in the technology platform today if you have to run your business. So don't say that I've been running this business from my grandfather's days. We didn't have all this. That's good to talk, but not practical. So you need to embrace the technology, mount your business onto suitable technology platforms, and be ready to take on the changes which are going to be there. So this is pretty much for the sole proprietor and partnership form of business. My 10 points to take care of. Next. Well, as a concluding remark, I would say that the invisible has always been the ultimate force upon humans. It is the invisible force. Things which we don't see, things which we see, we know what it is. Things which we don't see has got more power, like the ones which you are just going to see in the screen right now. Yes. There are 3 things which I put it in this invisible. You can go to the next slide, please. There are 3 things which I want to give you a perspective of. God is an ultimate force on all humans. You don't see God, do you? You see God in the form of many people that I know, but you don't see God, but that's ultimate force. Fear is an ultimate force which has got more control over you. And the virus. You don't see the virus, but look at what it has done to the world. It has shut down the world. It has changed the way you live. Now, God, fear, and virus are the invisible things which has got the ultimate control and ultimate power over us. Now, for you to have control over your lives, next slide, please. I want you to look at another invisible aspect to gain control over your life. And you'll be interested that invisible thing, you don't have to search for it. You will find it in the next slide itself. Please go to the next slide. The another invisible thing is nothing but self. You don't see the self, but that self is within you. You believe in yourself and you will have ultimate control over your life. Now, with those words, I would like to conclude my presentation, which has given you the new paradigm. And I want everybody to be ready for embracing the new paradigm. Those who are interested can get my presentation to make notes, and you will find all those points which we discussed, you will experience, witness in your life and the businesses in which you are associated with. Thank you very much. And I hand it back over to the moderator again and to take any questions.
Thank you very much, sir. It was indeed a wonderful session from taking us through the components and bringing the new paradigm shift totally depends on the self of any individual. Of course, we do have questions from the participants. I will go with the number one question. What could be the probable challenges that the new businesses that are going to be started in the coming years will face?
Great question. I would like to put it this way. There are no challenges for starting the business. I would say that go ahead and start more businesses. There isn't a better time to start a business like this one. What could get worse? It can only get better. I'm reminded of one book which I've read, written by Tony Gray. He is one of the most successful business person. He wrote a book called It Only Gets Better. Okay, the title of the book is It Only Gets Better. It can never get worse from whichever point if you look at it. So even if you start any business at the most appropriate time, you're going to find challenges. So this time is no different than any other time a person has seen in the world. Which time was better for any business to start? Was it the better time for Tatas to have started business? Was it the best time Dhirubhai Ambani when he started his business? Was it the best time our own educational institutions when Dr. Mahalingam started the business? There was no right time or wrong time when it comes to businesses. There are going to be challenges. There were challenges. Challenges will be there. It is part of life. Whether it is pandemic or any other thing, there are going to be challenges. So I would encourage anybody who is willing to start a business, don't worry about the challenges. First, look at the opportunities, go ahead and start the business. Challenges will come, we'll deal it when the bridge comes.
Absolutely, sir. A very positive approach indeed for the tough times. The next question is how companies can prominently exhibit TCF in the post-COVID era?
All right, TCF, I'm glad that this question has come up. TCF is a paradigm in itself, which has got 6 outcomes as I have described in that. The companies have to first sit down and then decide that we are going to have TCF as our guiding principles. Now, once you have decided that, then you put the customer in the center stage. You put the customer on the center and work around the clients, and you'll be able to find every single opportunity as it is being said in the TCF outcomes to take care of the clients. It's very simple. What are we talking about? We are talking about treating the customers fairly. Isn't it a big deal to do that? In fact, that should be the primary goal of every commercial business venture. So you sit together, make your plan, and come out with a strategy to make TCF felt by the clients, and look at those metrics which you can measure that yes, TCF is working, and that's the way to go about it. You can Google for TCF outcomes. You can look at the models has been given. You will find many insight into TCF. You can take the concept and then make changes to adapt to your particular business. Set up a team of people to work on the TCF, make certain actionable programs, and then also have measuring metrics to see that whether the TCF outcomes has been felt, record it, make changes, and then progress. That's the way to approach as far as TCF is concerned.
Thank you, sir. And there is one more interesting question here. Many companies are advertising and promoting the product by the means of coronavirus awareness. Do you think it's good or bad from the humanitarian perspective?
Very interesting, as you rightly said. There are 2 ways of looking at it. one would look at it as an opportunity, and another one would see it as that it is exploitation of the crisis which is befallen on our humanity. Now, these are things which you need to take it on the stride. So you can keep arguing about it, you can keep debating about it with no end. But if somebody sees this as an opportunity to promote their product, so be it. You can't just change. As I told you, that humans are going to be with emotions. They have got ideas. They will come out with a brilliant idea. Let's use this opportunity to see. As long as they see that opportunity doesn't hurt or harm others, then they can go ahead and do it. There'll be people who will be complaining, and there'll be people who will be questioning. That's the part of it. So there is no right or wrong way about it. But the only thing which you need to make sure is that you have to make sure that you are being responsible. That's very important. You cannot completely exploit the situation using your intelligence, your knowledge. Your knowledge and intelligence is given for productive, active, progressive things, and not for misusing it. So as long as you draw that Lakshman Rekha within yourself as to what you can do for a particular situation, I think that's the way to do it.
Okay, sir. Thank you. We'll have one last question, sir.
Yes.
Could you please tell us the driving forces behind the sustainability of MSME sector?
Well, let me give you certain pointers. India is very unique in terms of the small businesses. 97% of all the businesses in India are under MSME. Only 3% are the big corporates you will find reflected in the stock market. So that's why I always tell my clients, don't worry too much about the stock markets. Okay, they are not the indicators of our economy. They are certainly not the indicators of our economy. Just 30 companies can make or shake the stock market. So one need not worry about it. India's driving force is MSME. I would say that it is not MSME's driving force. India's driving force itself is the MSME. I'm sure that everybody are aware what MSME stands for. That is your medium and small and micro size of enterprises. You've recently seen from the finance ministry the measures which they have announced, especially for the MSME industry. No, I have not seen anywhere in the world any economy has ever given any importance the way in which the MSME has been given importance during this pandemic. Because India recognizes that MSMEs are the driving force behind our economy. Tamil Nadu especially accounts for maximum share when it comes to the MSME. Our MSME is our strength. People inherently are having the strength of productivity, starting a business. India is also known as a nation of shopkeepers. In India, I wouldn't buy the point that, there is unemployment. If you are not employed, all that they do is that they open a small chai ka tapri and then start selling tea. If you are not employed, they put up on pawn shop. So India is known as the nation of shopkeepers. And we are also very respectful citizens. So we don't take unemployment, free lunches and free coupons and stuff like that. We work very hard, and everything the poor people take, they truly deserve it for what they are contributing to the economy. A person who's going in for manual labor, he is given a subsidy in terms of rations and money. He truly deserves, or she truly deserves. In the villages, I have seen that there is nobody called housewife, as we normally would like to call people who are at home. Everybody gets up in the morning and goes to work, and everybody contributes to the economy. So an offshoot of that is the MSME, which we see are the greatest driving force of our economy. And the resilience which they have shown during this pandemic times is legendary. I salute all the small businesses. I salute all those manufacturing units who have kept their employees and paid their salaries. They may not be able to pay fully, but they have paid whatever they can, and they can afford, and they have taken care. So this MSME momentum has to be sustained, and it will be sustained through the measures which the government has taken in providing the liquidity and all the other benefits that they are given. Now is the time for the MSME to stand their ground and show their mettle and have the positive outlook and make India great. And that's quite possible, and I'm sure they will do it.
Thank you very much, sir. Could you be kind enough to go with one more question, please, sir?
Yeah, we can keep it as last. We can go for another
One last
meeting.
question, sir. We have one last question here.
I will give you another thing also. I will take this question. If there are more questions, please email it to me. I will have answers for them as well that can be populated to your audience.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. The question goes like this. What is the future of food-related businesses in the coming future?
That's going to be great. In fact, you find that my restaurant owner friends have been a bit sad and had long faces for some time. And once the announcement came that you can start selling parcels, they were the happiest one because their cash registers have been ringing thick and fast, and they're making more money. You will only find that things are going to open up, and you will find the catering services and restaurants and hotel businesses are going to flourish. As I told you that it is going to be the paradigm which is going to make all these things work, the new paradigm. You have to adapt. The business models will undergo slight changes. There'll be some pressures and there'll be some adjustments which they will have to make. You will find some quality standards which will be introduced for restaurants. You will find there are certain infrastructural investment which they'll have to do to make sure that the social distancing norms are adhered to. So those are the challenges. But I'm sure that the industry itself will come out winning, no doubt about it. It is going to have slight changes. You will find that more of home-based services will take prominence than people actually going out and eating. That might probably take a short-term hit, but on the long term, it will return. But during this time, you will find that the home-based services or deliveries are going to be doing very well.
Thank you very much, sir. It was indeed a wonderful explanation for all the questions and a very fantastic presentation, sir. It's a great honor for having you in the second day of our FDP session. Thank you very much for joining us. And indeed, the comments from the participants are very positive regarding the presentation. Thanks again.
Much, Dr. Kundavai, and I would love to see the feedbacks, and I'm always in standby whenever you need me offline to answer those questions, which I cannot take right now as I need to go to another meeting. I thank all the participants and audience and wish you all the very best. And everybody, please be positive and let's embrace all these new dimensions of the world and let us come out as winners. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
May I take your leave, moderators? Can I take
Yes, sir, of course, sir. Please go ahead. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much.